From Virginia, Don Beyer and Rob Whitman reintroduced a bill to guarantee back pay to federal workers who get furloughed. Stay tuned. It's 2:33 on WTOP. Good morning.
So what, I was a little bit late to,
procedure may eliminate your neck pain.
what I was a little bit late to record is that the, government is going to shut down, briefly or momentarily until this, matter is discussed. And what pains me is the fact that these are nothing more than paper tigers. Politicians are trying to shut down the government are nothing more than paper tigers, because the real tigers don't get the opportunity to shut down. And so what it comes down to is the lion tamer gets a break. We need to start realizing the actual situations that we're putting ourselves into, because this entire situation is
based on initial accusations that we heard about in his denial, and that was based on our experiences with Rob Porter.
Washington Examiner White House correspondent Sarah Westwood tells WTOP there are more questions now than ever.
It seems that his explanation of the situation may have even raised more questions, and at the start of the briefing, at one point he said that Rob Porter, the former staff secretary, had been terminated. At another point he said that Rob Porter had in fact resigned. He admitted
Who's
that the
Rob
White House
Porter?
handled the situation better, but didn't offer any specifics as to what he viewed as a mistake on the part of the White House. And he was very unclear about the timeline when senior aides learned about the allegations of domestic abuse against Rob Porter, how he was able to obtain and then sustain an interim security clearance when the FBI hadn't found him suitable yet to have a long-term security clearance. There are just a lot of questions that remained about why the White House has handled this so poorly, and why at first they attempted to stand by Rob Porter before moving into an increasingly aggressive condemnation of him.
Sarah, I think a lot of attention is paid to one of Porter's ex-wives and that very graphic picture of her black eye and other bruises.
And I'm not sure that there have been serious allegations that President Trump would have or even should have known about these allegations, but certainly it's something that the Chief of Staff should have been made aware of. And there's been questions about whether General Kelly's predecessor, Reince Priebus, knew about this when he hired Rob Porter at the beginning of the administration, and who made the decision to allow him to obtain that interim security clearance. The women who alleged that Rob Porter beat them while they were married say they were both contacted and interviewed by the FBI months ago, so presumably the administration was made aware of this, and yet they chose, when the story first broke, to defend him wholeheartedly. They only really moved towards trying to distance themselves from Rob Porter once there was public outrage to, like you mentioned, those photographs.
Sarah, can we say that the president liked to work with Porter, trusted him to fly often together on Air Force One, and as you say, a lot of papers literally being...
What does that have to do with the president? And
explain it, not excuse it, but explain why they really wanted Porter in that position.
Yes, Rob Porter is not someone who was a marginal player within the White House. He had his hand in a lot of different issue areas. He had a lot of responsibilities, someone that the president liked, and he is romantically linked to the White House communications director, Hope Hicks, who is arguably one of the aides Trump is closest to outside of his own family members. So all of those reasons made Porter very influential in the West Wing, and so it's maybe only a natural instinct for the White House to come out and defend Rob Porter, but there's been questions as to, for example, why someone like Hope Hicks didn't fully recuse herself from the messaging strategy, given that there was a conflict of interest there. Well, the White House has already come under scrutiny repeatedly for the people.
And we see that this is a narrative that was already given in the commentary on behalf of WTP. Is just asking questions with this commentary already being provided.
Groups as a liaison to the White House. She's now back in the reality TV world. And for example, Raj Shah made a joke about it, saying that Omarosa Manigault was fired 3 times from The Apprentice, so we don't really take her advice that seriously. But then why was she put in a high-level position? And time again, the White House is facing questions about just how much scrutiny they apply to the people that they entrust a lot of responsibility to.
Washington.
And
Sarah Westwood on Skype with Dimitri. You are listening to 103.5 FM at WTOP.com.
And I'm not undermining any of the statements that were made. What I'm portraying is the commentary that was distributed, or the narrative that was distributed by WTOP. Based on a narrative that was given by this individual on that apparently, I don't know who this person is, but it's another allegation, and what it comes down to is that there's, in this semi-undermining, I come on, shit, I'm not undermining. What this comes down to is that we all need to understand the duality of things. We really need to understand the duality of things. And Trump is powerful, and he's enough to cause contention with the normal rules of government. It's not necessarily a bad thing. If he's capable of doing it, and we're so pissed off about it, the thing is, we're not going to, and what we need to realize is that the media is gonna take hold of this. And so that's what kind of kills me, is that, maybe, upon, millenniums of research, people are actually going to recover my thoughts. It's a passive approach. Weaknesses are seen throughout the process. And if there's no altruism, this is the most powerful weapon we have in order to use it. I can't break it down. I'm not. On my own, there's a lot better people out there than myself that can. And that's what it comes down to. The only thing I could ask of my life is that I die seeing action. I've got mine. Be safe, be kind, stay strong. I love y'all.